Any fraction can be converted to a decimal number by simply dividing the numerator by the denominator. We can do this using long division or with a calculator. The result of this division will be a decimal number which is equivalent to the fraction. This decimal number will either repeat or terminate. A terminating decimal number has a finite number of digits after the decimal point. A repeating decimal number has a sequence of digits after the decimal point which repeats forever. Repeating decimals can be written with 3 dots, called an ellipsis, to indicate that the pattern repeats forever, or a bar can be placed over the digits which repeat. For instance, we can indicate a repeating 3 by placing a bar over the 3. Likewise, a bar over a sequence of digits indicates that the sequence repeats forever. Some unit fractions, when written in decimal form, can be represented with a finite number of digits, while others cannot. For instance, the fractions 1/2, 1/4, 1/5, 1/8, and 1/10 can be written with a finite number of digits. On the other hand, the decimal equivalent of 1/3 is a decimal point followed by an infinite number of 3's. 1/6 is a decimal point followed by a 1 and then an infinite number of 6's. 1/7 is a decimal point followed by the infinitely repeating sequence 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. And 1/9 is a decimal point followed by an infinite number of 1's. You may be wondering why some fractions can be represented with a finite number of digits, while others cannot. To see why, let's take a look at the fraction 1/2 on the number line. 1/2 can be represented by exactly 5/10. So 1/2 is equivalent to the decimal number 0.5. On the other hand, the fraction 1/3 is larger than 3/10, but smaller than 4/10. If we subdivide these divisions into hundredths, we see that 1/3 falls somewhere between 33 hundredths and 34 hundredths. If we subdivide these divisions into thousandths, we see that 1/3 falls somewhere between 333 thousandths and 334 thousandths. If we subdivide these divisions into 10 thousandths, we see that 1/3 still falls between two divisions. It is larger than 0.3333, but smaller than 0.3334. We can repeat this process indefinitely. No matter how close we zoom in, the fraction 1/3 will never fall exactly on a division. We will just keep adding 3's after the decimal point forever. So, although some rational numbers, like 1/2, can be represented by a finite number of digits, others, like 1/3, cannot. We have seen that by dividing the numerator by the denominator, any fraction can be converted to an equivalent decimal number, which will either terminate or repeat. In the next lecture, we will see how to convert any terminating or repeating decimal number to a fraction.